G'day comrade subscribers. Sunday morning here. I've been working on my Hector ordinateur, and I've done a whole lot of video, but I don't think I'll bother using any of that. So this is kind of just a quick update, basically on refurbishing the machine. So what I've done here now, so this is the LEP, the cassette recorder, and I think I've fixed these. So this I've cleaned all these. So let me stand up, and I think the way they were attached, I think they were super glued. There's so I could pull them off quite easily. They didn't kind of screw in or anything like that. I think they were basically, it looked like there was like super glue on there. So that's what I've done now. I've re-super glued them all, and they're all in line and everything like that. And I've fixed the cassette lid mechanism. So I just had to, you can see here it's actually bent in. So I've just kind of turned it in and bent it in a bit further, and now it latches properly. And you press the eject button and it works. So that was a very simple fix. I'll show you the keyboard. Keyboard I've totally stripped. Where is it over there? I think I'm just waiting for this super glue to set properly. The keyboard, so I've got totally stripped the whole machine. So this case, top case, has all been cleaned. This has been cleaned. Keyboard I've stripped out. All the keycaps have been cleaned, and I did. So this is, the delete key was sticky, and I did actually dismantle the key. I don't know, I might insert the video so you can see what it actually looks like inside. But it was still sticking, so I've swapped it with this. As you can see, that's still sticking. That's sticking now. So I've swapped it with this no name key. I don't know what it does, but I figured I'd probably use this one more. So that's working quite nicely. Whole keyboard's quite nice. Yeah, so that's the top case and keyboard done. Let's get the bottom half. For the bottom half, I haven't washed the board. I've just used the air thingamajig to blow the dust off. Bottom case has been washed. So what am I going to do? Right, I'm going to replace the Euro power cable with an Aussie power cable. That's just basically comes in here and solders onto the switch. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the SCART yet, because I noticed inside the case there's this hole here that kind of looks perfect for a DIN socket. So, but you can't see it from the outside of the case. I'd have to drill a hole here to make it accessible. But one thing I could do is wire up from the SCART connector here, just run it over to here to a DIN socket, and then I can just plug in a DIN cable, similar for the Amstrad series RGB with audio. So I might do that, maybe, but I think in the near future I'll grab the rest. So this is my very quick and dirty solution, because for some reason, yeah, the my Sony DVD recorder didn't like the SCART. It worked once and then it just wouldn't recognize it. So I took the SCART cable, put on the GBS 8200 cable so I could run it through that. So one idea is I could just put a DIN socket on here on the end of this, so this plugs into here, and then have the DIN socket on here, so that actually runs out through the outside, and then I can plug my the cable that I've made for my Amstrad up, for example. Or I could run it over to here, or I could run it somewhere else perhaps. But anyway, so I'm going to keep it like that for now, so I figure out what I want to do with it. What else? One thing I noticed is there's no fuse, so power comes into the switch. I'm going to resolder all this, because the only way to get the switches out to clean the thing was to desolder it. So here's the switch. So power comes into the switch, and then it goes out by this white cable to the transformer, and then from the transformer we go over to this corner here where we've got 3 regulators and diodes and smoothing capacitors. So it's pretty simple. No fuse, transformer to step down the voltage, and then we've got -5, +5, so we've got a 7905, a 7805 and a 7812, and obviously rectification diodes there as well, but no fuse. Anyway, so I need to solder all this back up. We'll have a quick look at that. Do a bit of a video. Yeah, I think I did a whole lot of video yesterday. I think I'll delete it anyway. So like I said, this is where all the regulation happens. You can see we've got the 7905 doesn't have a heatsink, so obviously there's not much power being consumed there. Then we've got a 7812 and a 7805, I think. And they actually just that's what the plug is there. They actually just plug into there. So I can't replace these with a switching regulator very easily because the ones I've got don't attach anywhere. I could connect them to these fly leads, but then they'd just be floating around. There is this big space here, which I guess is what that hole's for. I don't know, maybe this is a UHF modulator perhaps went there. I don't know. Anyway, one last thing is how to get software loaded. So I'm going to look at that. I'm just going to solder all these things back together, and then we'll talk about that. Right, now the LEP, the cassette recorder, to get the data in. So the board on here is actually pretty simple. So this doesn't actually do any of the processing, if you could call it that. You know, the signal conditioning to take the very weak data signal from the tape and produce a data stream from it. So if you have a look, basically we've got the read head there, read write head I should say, that goes onto here, and then I think pretty much goes to these 2 pins here. There is actually nothing on the board, so normally there'd be an op amp or a couple of op amps and things like that to boost the signal, and then I think to work as a comparator to generate the actual zeros and ones, but there's nothing on here. So it's going to be on the board, so let's have a look at that. So I think this should actually be ready to remount, so let me just remount that. So there we go, pretty much back together, and as promised, as you can see, the lid's now down, so that stays down. Okay, and then I have to maybe so, okay. I don't know if that's exactly how it's supposed to work, but it's okay. That's working better. Maybe just a bit of lubrication is needed, maybe. It's kind of getting stuck there, but you can see, easy fix. Keys are all fixed, they're all in a row now. But yeah, to actually get data into this thing, right, so like I said, looks like the tape signal comes in here and then goes out to this blue and red wire here, which then come down with all the power down to here. So what I noticed also, what's this? Oh yeah, you can see, okay, so we'll have 2 wires. Let's have a closer look. So it's basically this black wire here. So we've got 4 wires. So we've got 2 wires for data in basically, and then 2 wires for data out, so record and whatever. So they come down here, and what I noticed around here, actually before I plugged in, so can't really read that, but I'm assuming, I thought maybe this was an op amp, and this could be maybe a dual op amp or something, I'm not sure. But I think this is where the cassette signal's conditioned. So that's where I'm going to have to inject via a 3.5mm audio socket, inject my audio from the computer, because obviously it's going to be, normally I would inject it after the op amp because it's going to be quite strong signal. Well, I can adjust it anyway. So yeah, try and find a schematic, but I'm assuming that's somewhere around here is where I'm going to have to inject the audio, and there's, like, as you can see, there's plenty of space here, so I could just add a socket there, or a socket on the front. So that's the plan, and then try and load some software. Yeah. The other thing is, because I'm pretty sure the tape player does work, then I should be able to record some information, like record a basic program or something, and then digitize it and then play it back in. But there is conversion. There are tape images and conversion files programs for the machine, so I can try that. But there we go. So I think it's looking pretty good. Looking forward to loading some software. That's it. That was all for now. I just wanted to let you guys know. Oh, I've still got to put the power cable in, the Aussie power cable. So that just connects into next to those white wires on the on-off switch. And then runs through there and then out through that that opening there with the SCART cable. Very easy. Very simple. Okay, that's it. Bye for now. So, g'day comrade subscribers. I'm not doing much work on it today. I'm just kind of pulling it apart, give it a bit of a clean. But I thought I'd show you. So, obviously it comes with the Euro plug. So I'm going to swap that, which is pretty easy actually. You just need to desolder it from the on-off switch here, and then basically pull it through, and then I can just put on an Aussie plug. And yeah, so I think that's the regulators there. So we've got a -5, we've got a 12 volt, and we've got a 5 volt. So plus minus 5 volts and 12 volts, I guess, mainly for the RAM, I guess. So if you needed to convert this for, say, US, just pull this thing out. Either get a replacement or just like get a Meanwell power supply that supplies the voltages over here. So there's plenty of space to put another power supply in here. So you could either use the one that for example, the one that has the DIN plug, and it brings the voltages in, or you just get an internal Meanwell there, I guess. And because obviously that's going to give you AC, which is then rectified, as you can see here, will be rectified here and regulated by these three. So I guess the voltage is coming there. Yeah, anyway, you can figure it out. But for me here in Australia, it's just a matter of just pulling that plug out. So I'll do that. I've already pulled out the SCART connector, so I'll figure out what I want to do with that. But really what I want to do is pull the keyboard out, give that a good clean, disassemble it, give it a clean, and also pull the cassette recorder out the LEP, try and fix those keys, and obviously we get rid of all this dust. I'm not going to wash the board. I think I'm just going to air blow it, I think. So that's the plan. But I'm doing something else today, so this will be sometime later. I was going to give up, so I just sprayed some lubricant in it, but it didn't help. I just kind of levered that, and that's popped off. So I'm thinking these things here on the side are for when you push them into like a PCB or something. So I think it's these little ones here. So I've got that little side popped off. There's a tiny little that, I think, hopefully just pops off and will hopefully pop back on again. Okay, 2 clicks. Seems to be coming off. I don't want it to suddenly fly out and I'll lose the spring. Oh, like that. So there's the spring. Hopefully I can get it back together. That was it, was it? Okay. That's the interior. Why were you getting stuck? Goes in like that, and basically just makes contact by pressing down there. So how is the spring in there then? It's a pretty tall spring. Was it like that? Oh, excellent. Okay, I got it apart. Might not be able to get it back together again. Unless, how was the spring in there? I'm going to have to pull another one apart carefully. The spring didn't go across or something. I don't think it was in there vertically. I think maybe it was on, I think it was maybe like that. Yes, I know what's going to happen here. It's going to fly across the garage, never to be found again. But I think somehow it was across like that. I know all you can see is my fingernails. You can't actually see the spring. I think it was like that, so I have to do. This is not the right place. I shouldn't be doing it like this because it's going to fly out. I think it was somehow not like that, but maybe kind of curved up. I'm going to get that out because that's going to fly somewhere. Alright, so I think that's how it was, like that, and then that goes across like that. Okay, hopefully that was interesting. Let's see if I can get it back together and if I can fix it, because it was still getting stuck. It's getting stuck down. Let's see. I was a bit stuck out. I've undone 3 screws that were obvious. There's another screw under here, I think. Yeah, in between. I think it's that one there. It might be holding it still. There we go, that was it. So 4 screws. And it's free. Yep. Okay, so what on earth is going on with these things? Okay, that's just coming off. Alright, I'll figure it out. Alright, I've just there all the switches, like once you take the caps off, they just pulled straight off. They weren't attached on anyhow. They just pulled straight off. So I don't know if they were originally glued on or something, but they all look the same. They don't look broken, and all of these obviously look like they're all correct as well. They're all in a row now. That's obviously the record. So you need, yeah. So need the little record tab out of the way, I guess. Yep, now that's record. So it all seems to be okay. It's just the keycaps are a bit wonky. So I don't know whether there was glue. There doesn't seem to be anything really to hold them on. put them all back on. They're going back on. Oh, okay. They're clicking in. They click. All right, they clicked in. Clicked in. There. Okay. That looks to be fixed, doesn't it? Until I do that. But they're all okay. So that's technically fixed. So they're just. I don't know. I'm tempted to super glue them on, because there doesn't seem to be anything really, you know, unless there was some sort of thing there, but there's nothing really. They go in, and maybe it was just kind of friction 40 years ago that was holding them in. Anyway, I'm going to give them a clean because they're dusty. I'll have to figure that out. Just the pinch roller there is a bit dirty, but that's to be expected. And maybe just adjust this a little bit so that the lid stays down. Belt seems to be okay. It's a big belt. Knocked it off a little bit there. That seems to be going okay. Yeah. So it looks alright, just needs a bit of a clean. And now this is the top case here, so like I said, I'm probably going to have to just desolder these buttons here to get that wiring out so I can give this top case a proper wash. Okay, now getting back to this key switch that was getting stuck. After a lot of fiddling, I finally figured out where the spring goes, which probably is no surprise to those of you who have fiddled with these before. But there is a hole right there. So the spring goes through the hole. Like so. And then obviously it goes in either side there, but I might, it's still getting stuck a little bit. I might put a little bit of lubricant in there just to be safe. Let's see. Okay, I need to push that back in. That's the right way round. I had it in just perfect before. Maybe I just stick this in. Yeah, maybe I put it in like this, and then I put the cap on, perhaps. Anyway, it's a bit fiddly, but that's basically how the spring goes back in, like that. And then this goes back on top.